Hello everyone, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we'll follow Quan's desperate search for Tieu Lac as he gets closer to discovering the truths she has been hiding. Will she finally face him or disappear once again? Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next episode. Quan entered the old market with only one thought circling endlessly in his mind. Why had Tieu Lac left him so easily? The first time she disappeared, he understood the reason. Her family had forced her into a corner. She had believed leaving was the only way to protect the people she cared about. Even then, the pain had nearly destroyed him, but at least there had been an explanation. This time, there was nothing. No message, no warning, not even a final look that might have told him what she was thinking. She had simply vanished. Quan moved deeper into the crowded market, his eyes searching every face that passed him. The narrow paths between the stalls were filled with people bargaining over vegetables, carrying baskets, calling out prices, and moving quickly from one place to another. Under normal circumstances, the market would have felt noisy and alive. But to Quan, every sound seemed distant. All he could hear was the memory of Tieu Lac's voice. He kept imagining that she might suddenly appear at the end of one row, holding a basket of fruit, or quietly arranging goods on a small table. Perhaps she would look up, see him, and freeze. Perhaps she would try to run again. He did not care. He only wanted to see her. Quan stopped beside the first fruit stall and took out a photograph of Tieu Lac. "Excuse me," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Have you seen this girl?" The woman behind the stall wiped her hands on her apron and leaned closer. "Let me see." Quan held the picture toward her. The woman studied it for several seconds before her expression changed. "Oh yes, I remember her." Quan's heart tightened. "You've seen her. She used to sell things around here, didn't she? Fruit, vegetables, sometimes other small items." "Yes," Quan answered quickly. "That's her. When did you last see her?" The woman looked toward the far end of the market as if searching her memory. "A few days ago, I think. She was here selling as usual, but I haven't seen her for the last 2 days." "Did she say where she was going?" "No. She didn't say anything to me." "Did she leave with someone?" "I don't know. I was busy with customers." Quan lowered the photograph slightly. For a moment, the hope that had carried him into the market began to weaken. Still, he forced himself to ask, "If you see her again, could you please tell her that Quan is looking for her?" The woman nodded. "I will. I hope you find her soon." Quan thanked her and moved on. One stall became two. Two became 5. At every stop, he repeated the same questions. "Have you seen this girl? Was she here recently? Did she say where she was going? Did anyone come to meet her?" Most of the vendors recognized Tieu Lac. Some remembered her quiet smile. Others remembered how she always spoke politely even when she was exhausted. A few had seen her selling fruit several days earlier, but every answer ended the same way. No one had seen her recently. No one knew where she had gone. Each response felt like another piece of the road disappearing beneath Quan's feet. He had entered the market believing this would be the easiest place to find her. Tieu Lac knew the area. She knew the people here. Whenever she needed money, she often returned to the same familiar corners to sell whatever she could gather. But now even those corners were empty. Quan stopped beside a stall selling vegetables and showed the photograph again. The elderly vendor narrowed her eyes. "Yes, I know this girl." Quan stepped closer. "Have you seen her today?" "No. Yesterday." The woman shook her head. "She was here a few days ago, but then she stopped coming." "Did she look worried? Was she sick?" "I'm not sure. She was quieter than usual." That answer struck him harder than the others. Quieter than usual. Tieu Lac had always hidden her pain behind silence. Whenever something frightened her, she rarely asked for help. She lowered her head, smiled faintly, and convinced everyone that she could manage alone. Quan knew that habit too well. "What were you thinking, Tieu Lac?" he whispered after walking away. "Why didn't you tell me?" He continued searching through the market until the crowds began to thin. He looked behind stalls, down side paths, near the entrances, and around the places where Tieu Lac had once sat to sell her goods. There was no sign of her. At one point, Quan thought he saw her in the distance. A young woman with long dark hair was walking away between two rows of stalls. His chest tightened instantly. "Tieu Lac!" He pushed through the crowd, ignoring the people who turned to look at him. "Tieu Lac, wait!" The woman stopped and looked back. It was not her. Quan stood frozen for a second, breathless and embarrassed, but the disappointment mattered far more than the curious eyes around him. He apologized quietly and turned away. For the first time that morning, a darker thought entered his mind. What if Tieu Lac was not simply lost? What if she was deliberately hiding from him? The possibility frightened him because it explained too much. She had not returned to the farm. She had stopped visiting the market. She had left no message and told no one where she intended to go. It was as if she had erased every path he might use to reach her. But why? What had changed? What burden was she carrying that she believed she had to face alone? Quan gripped the photograph more tightly. He refused to accept that she could disappear without giving him the chance to understand. Across the village, far from the noise of the market, Tieu Lac stood outside the small house of the elderly woman who had helped her before. For several moments, she did not move. She had returned because she had nowhere else to go. Her body was still weak, and the fear inside her had grown heavier with every step. Yet what frightened her most was not hunger, exhaustion, or the uncertainty of where she would sleep. It was the truth she was carrying. Inside the house, the elderly woman was preparing flour to make cakes. The steady sound of the wooden tool striking the bowl echoed through the quiet room. Tieu Lac entered slowly. The woman looked up and immediately noticed how pale she appeared. "You're back," she said with concern. "Come inside. You shouldn't be walking around so much." Tieu Lac forced a small smile. "Let me help you, Grandma." "No," the woman replied firmly. "Sit down. You need to rest." Tieu Lac wanted to argue, but the strength had already left her body. She sat near the table, watching the woman continue her work. The warmth of the house should have comforted her, yet her thoughts remained trapped elsewhere. Quan was probably searching for her. Maybe he had already gone to the market. Maybe he had shown her picture to everyone. And if he found her now, what would she say? Would she finally stand in front of him and tell him the entire truth? Or would she hide it again, turn away and disappear before he learned that her life no longer belonged to her alone? The elderly woman stopped pounding the flour and looked carefully at Tieu Lac. "You don't look well," she said. "Did you eat anything today?" Tieu Lac shook her head. "I'm not hungry." "You may not feel hungry, but your body still needs food, especially now." Tieu Lac lowered her eyes. Those last two words made her chest tighten. The elderly woman had not forgotten. She knew Tieu Lac was pregnant, even if Tieu Lac herself still had not accepted what that meant. Every time someone mentioned the baby, the truth became heavier. The woman placed the bowl aside and sat across from her. "You should stay here for a few days. You need rest. Running from place to place will only make you weaker. I don't want to trouble you. You are not troubling me, but I can't stay forever. No one is asking you to decide forever." The answer touched something painful inside Tieu Lac. She had been thinking only in extremes. Stay with Quan forever or leave him completely. Tell him the truth or disappear with it. Ask for help or carry everything alone. "I just need a little time," she said softly. "Time for what?" Tieu Lac did not answer. How could she explain that the man she loved was probably searching for her? How could she admit that she wanted to run into his arms and, at the same time, stay far enough away that he would never learn the truth? She placed one hand over her stomach. The elderly woman noticed. "You are worried about the child." Tieu Lac's eyes filled immediately. "I don't know what to do." "Does the father know?" Tieu Lac looked away. "No." "Then perhaps he should." The words landed with frightening force. "If I tell him," she whispered, "everything will change. Everything has already changed." Tieu Lac closed her eyes. She knew the woman was right. At the market, Quan was still searching. He had walked through the main row several times, but he could not make himself leave. Every unfamiliar face became a possibility. Every distant figure made him turn. He checked the place where Tieu Lac used to sit with her baskets. Another seller had taken the space. Quan remembered how she once complained that the sun was too strong, then laughed and said she could handle it. He remembered buying her a drink and watching her refuse it because she did not want him to spend money. She had always been like that. Even when she needed something, she acted as if she did not. Even when she was tired, she smiled. Even when she was afraid, she said she was fine. Quan looked down at the empty ground. "Were you already planning to leave?" he whispered. "Were you smiling at me while deciding how to disappear?" The question hurt because he could not dismiss it. He left the market and began searching the nearby roads. He checked the paths leading towards smaller villages, fields, and gardens, where people sometimes hired workers for harvesting. At each place, he showed Tieu Lac's photograph. Some people shook their heads immediately. Others stared at the picture, trying to remember. One man said he might have seen someone similar walking along the road 2 days earlier, but he was not sure. Quan followed the direction anyway. The road narrowed. The houses grew farther apart. Dust rose beneath his steps. Tieu Lac, only the wind answered. For a moment, anger rose inside him, not because she had left, but because she had decided everything alone. She had not given him the chance to explain, to help, or even to say goodbye. But the anger quickly collapsed into fear. What if she was sick? What if she had nowhere to stay? What if something had happened while he was searching in the wrong place? Quan forced himself to think carefully. If Tieu Lac wanted to avoid him, she would stay away from the market and the farm. She would choose a place no one connected to her. But she was weak. She could not keep walking forever. She would need shelter. The thought gave him a new direction and a deeper sense of urgency. Back at the elderly woman's house, Tieu Lac sat silently while a bowl of warm food cooled in front of her. "Eat a little," the woman said. Tieu Lac lifted the spoon, but her hand trembled. She imagined Quan's face if she told him. At first he would be shocked. Then he would ask why she had hidden it. He might blame himself. He might refuse to let her leave. That was what frightened her most. Not that he would abandon her, that he would stay out of responsibility. Tieu Lac did not want the child to become a chain around his life. She wanted Quan to choose her freely, not because guilt forced him to protect her. But was she protecting him now? Or was she simply making the decision for him? She looked toward the door. For one brief second, she imagined walking out, returning to the market, and letting him find her. She would stand in front of him and say everything. She would tell him about the baby, confess that she was terrified, and admit that she still loved him. The thought was so vivid that she nearly stood. Then she remembered the future she believed Quan deserved. A stable life, a family without struggle, and a path that did not require him to carry her pain. Her hand fell back to the table. Far down the road, Quan reached a small intersection and showed the photograph to a woman beside a roadside stall. The woman studied it carefully. "I think I saw her." Quan's heart stopped. When? Maybe yesterday. She was walking toward the older houses near the edge of the village. Was she alone? Yes, she looked tired. Quan thanked her and immediately turned toward the road she indicated. At the same time, Tieu Lac rose from the table. "Where are you going?" the elderly woman asked. Tieu Lac stood near the doorway, one hand resting against the wooden frame. "I don't know," she admitted. She could hear footsteps somewhere beyond the yard. Slow, approaching, her breath caught. If it was Quan, she had only seconds to decide. Would she finally face him and tell him that she was carrying his child? Or would she step away from the doorway, remain silent, and let him pass without ever knowing how close he had come to the truth?